Hello friends, my name is Uttam and I am a big data architect. And in the previous few video, I have shown you how to create Cloudera cluster in AWS, Azure and virtual machines. And I have also shown you the video how to install Kubernetes cluster on AWS EC2 instance, and I have also shown you how to configure Kubernetes dashboard. And in the very recent video, I have shown you how to install Docker on Kubernetes clusters. So in the today's video I am going to show you how we can create Docker image and how we can run the Docker container. So before doing that, let's have a small introduction about Docker. So let's start the video today. As we all know, Docker is a very powerful tool and it is mostly used by developers to deploy their application, and using this containerization we deploy all the application in an isolated environment, so it don't affect your existing operating system. So containers are lightweighted, portable and self-sufficient unit that contains all the necessary dependency libraries and configuration needed to run any application. So there are few key concept and components of Docker that I will be showing you in this video. So the first one is Docker image, then you have Docker container, Docker engine, Docker compose, Docker hub and Docker file. So we will discuss all this in a practical way. So as we know, Docker image is the read only template. So using this only we create the container. So here you put all the information, so including application code, runtime, library, environment variable, everything you define as a template inside Docker image. Then Docker contain is a instance of the Docker image, and it encapsulate an application and it is dependencies providing the isolation and portability. So actual your application will be running inside the container only, and Docker engine is the one which is responsible for building and running and managing this Docker container. Docker compose is a tool for defining running multiple container. So this is a very powerful tool because using this you can run multiple container at the same time with the help of this YML find. Also you can define the volume and network. So we will see all this thing. Then you have Docker hub. So Docker hub is similar like we have GitHub for the code repository. Docker hub is the Docker hub for the Docker repository. So all the image you create, you can push those image into Docker hub, and whenever needed you can directly use the Docker hub from anywhere, as Docker is a platform independent, so it can be used anywhere. And Docker file is the one where you provide the set of instruction. So before building the Docker image, you create this Docker file. So practically we are going to see all this scenario today. I am going to explain with the practical example. So let's discuss on the virtual box, because in my series I have also shown you how to create virtual machine using virtual box and using Vagrant, how you can automate this. So there is a there are many differences between Docker and virtual machines. So when we talk about technology, so Docker is a containerization, whereas virtual machine is full virtualization. When it comes to isolation, so Docker is a process level isolation and virtual machine is OS level isolation. So that means Docker is completely isolated from the OS, but your virtual machine is tightly coupled with the OS. When it comes to performance, yes, Docker is lightweighted and it's like minimal overhead. When it comes to virtual machine, it's like it consume the high resources, because you need to define the volume, memory, you need to dedicate that for the virtual machine. So it's a overhead to your existing operating system. Startup time, obviously Docker is very fast and startup time is slower in virtual machine. Similarly, resource utilization, resource usage, it's more efficient in Docker, and in virtual machine it consumes more resources. Portability, again, Docker is like using Docker hub. You can create Docker image anywhere, and you can put it into Docker Hub, and you can use the same image to anywhere. So portability, obviously you have too much in Docker, but you have very less portability between this, because virtual machine run on hypervisor, so it's difficult to maintain the portability. OS compatibility, so it's run on host kernel, and your virtual machine runs, or as I said, it's run on host operating system itself. So when it comes to management, Docker is easy to manage and scale both, because in virtual machine everything you need to predefine, and for the scaling you need to stop your virtual machine and do the scaling and all. So that's again a difficult scenario there. Security wise also, like Docker is more useful. Same way, uh, use cases wise, mostly used Docker is mostly used for microservices, cloud native apps, and DevOps purpose, and your virtual machine is mostly used for the legacy application. So now let's move to the next part, where we are going to practically discuss how we can create image and how you can run the container. So now I am going to show you the basic commands we mostly used in Docker. So suppose if you want to create a Docker image, or you want to run a Ubuntu machine from the Docker container, so for that you can use this Docker pull. So even though if you just search like Docker image for Ubuntu, so you can find online like all the images you can find, just you can see it will be available everywhere. So you just see you have just Docker pull Ubuntu, so you can use this command just. So this will pull the image. Okay, so we have this error with the EC2 user. So to resolve that issue, you just need to add EC2 user into Docker group. So we can do by using this query. We can just use this. I'll send you all this command. So I did this. Now you need to come out from there, log in back, and you can try Docker pull Ubuntu. So now you see it is able to pull the Docker image. So to see the Docker image, you can just type Docker image ls. So you see the Ubuntu image is there. Now to run this Ubuntu container, you can just use this command. So when you run this, it will go inside the Docker, like inside the Ubuntu shell using this. For example, if I just use this option IT, so I'll be going to the Ubuntu shell, you can see here. So you can see this, all this are the Ubuntu file. So the container is already running under the Ubuntu machine here, like our Ubuntu machine is running as a container in this server. So this is one way. Also, like you can exit from here, and you can also run the command directly there. So using this, for example, using this you can run any command. So you can see if I run this ls, it will show me the, you can see the existing one. So you have this both option. Now one option I have told you, like how to list the whichever Docker image are there. So for that you can use this ls command. So first we run that hello world at the beginning when we installed the Docker, that time we tested. Just now we created this Docker image, so you can see that is one option. So to run the Docker, you can see you can run by using this, and you can use the ID. So image ID, for example, if I use this ID and if I run this, you see it will be running at the back end. And if you see the hello world, you can run that also, that image also, this one. So we'll have a proper example, but just now I am showing. So for example, this hello Docker, so this I run, it run, because in this Ubuntu machine there was no output to show, that's why it didn't show anything. but with this hello world you can see this is what. So this is how you run your Docker. Okay, and there is one more thing, you can tag your Docker image. So if you want to give a specific name, you can give it to that. So using this, you just need to paste this, and you will just paste the Docker ID. So for example, this Ubuntu, I want to tag the name, so I'll just paste this, and I'll put like new Ubuntu. So you will see now. So now you can see, oh sorry, so you see the new name, new image got created. So using this you can tag the name. Okay, so this is the third command. And if you want to remove one image, you can use this docker rmi. So for example, this one, but make sure if you try to remove that docker, then that docker should not be, there should not be any container running with that docker image. So now, like the one I have created, if I want to remove this, I'll just use this docker rmi. So you see, unable to delete. So it's running already, something is running, there is a conflict, unable to remove this. So for that, you can also use the force command also. So you can use like -f also to remove that. So let's try with that, rmi-f. So you see, using force you can remove. Now if you do docker image ls, so you see that got deleted, the Ubuntu image got deleted. Okay, so let's just create it again. You can use this, or you can use this one. So we can pull or directly, so here no need to do pull also. If you run this command, automatically it will pull the image from the docker repository of Ubuntu, and it will directly run it. So you see, it's downloaded and it gives you the result also. So this is how your docker, some of the command works, and some more. Now this was related to docker image. Now for the docker container, if you want to list what all the docker container is running, you can list it using this command docker-ps. So you see, all this image, all this container is there. So you can see all this container, it's exited. So whichever will be running, that also it will show, whichever is stored. So all the status it will show when it was created. So just now we created this, that you can show it there. So that is for your, you can also see using this docker - this command. So this will list you only the ID, that container ID. And you can also search with the existing name. So you can search with the image ID. So for example, this one, if I want the Ubuntu one, so it will list only the Ubuntu what we run. So this is how it works. So if you want to stop any container, so you will use docker stop. So you'll use docker stop, and you will just copy paste. So now if I do, this is stopped. If you want to do just, if you want to do just, you see that image is stopped now, which one we saw that. If you want to stop everything, you can use like this, and you can use here Ubuntu. So this one. So now it will stop all the machine which have this Ubuntu. there is some, one second, you can also use this one. Okay, there is nothing listing with the Ubuntu because we already stopped everything. So if you want to stop some other one, we have only this hello world, so you can use this hello world, which will remove all the hello world. Okay, now how you can remove the docker? So you can, docker container, you can use this command, docker container, this one. Or if you, so for example, if I want to remove this container, so this is the container ID. If I remove it now, so you see it got removed now. The Ubuntu one got removed, the first one which was there. And if you want to remove everything, then you can use this command. So this will remove all the docker container. So you see now if I do, there is nothing. So everything got removed. So in the next video I am going to show you how to create Docker image for Python and Scala, and we also do some Spark. We'll create the Docker container. We'll use this Docker Compose, how we can use this Docker Compose. We'll use how to use this Docker file and Docker hub. So all this thing we'll do with the proper example, with the Spark, with Scala and with Python. So please subscribe my channel, and I'll give you all the big data related video which will be helpful, and it will be completely practical based scenario. So everything I am doing, it's a recent thing, so you won't have any issue and you will be able to gain all the information, all the required information related to big data, related to DevOps, and some of the thing I'll try to cover with the data science as well. So please do subscribe my channel, and see you in the next video. Bye.